Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of NorthKaKChat. I'm your host, Craig Tone, and these are my co-hosts, Kenny McKoy and Curtis McKoy.
Peep-bye.
Peekaboo. Today we got a pretty interesting show. Well, interesting to me anyway. Curtis' topic may make you laugh, bust out laughing on the floor. Talking about them teachers out there these days. Even though school just ended in North Carolina, that's interesting. We'll see how it is when we look back on the school year. Yeah. Kenny's got some nice little easy breezing for you, talking about some gardening topics. You know, in my backyard, we grow some of the cigar weeds. Not really.
I hear you.
Not really. So don't come to my house looking for none. We talk about a little bit of gun control. Or is it people control? Who knows, man?
True.
And then finally, you know, the past year, we as a people haven't been getting busy like we usually do. So the birth rate dropped about 4%. I wonder why. Are there some things besides the recent pandemic that's been going on that can kind of push us to the solution to this? Because I mean, it's been falling for a while. It just fell by the most, you know, last year. So we'll take a closer look at that and see what's going to happen.
Let's do this.
Curtis, take me to the streets. How many of them kids you beat up in the schoolyard?
Man, this is something that been bothering me for a while, man.
What's that?
Just the neglect of school systems in different areas. And I want to do. I'll be doing some more investigation on it. But the kids that's in rural areas are not getting supported like they're supposed to. Are not getting the books. Not getting the education. And it all boils down to some of the teachers are not getting, like you can go to the north side or, you know what I'm saying, and get these teachers getting paid good. But you're coming over to the west side, they're not getting paid good. So therefore you getting teachers that's, you know, maybe just out of college or don't have enough experience or, you know what I'm saying? And it's a lot that ties into this whole topic. And I think that parents, the community, everybody got to kind of stand up about this. And we looking at the future and provide for our kids and make sure our kids understand that just because you do got a teacher that's not dedicated to you or not, I'm not going to say not dedicated because these teachers are bombarded with so much. You know what I'm saying? That they don't really have time to do the individual thing or they don't, you know what I'm saying? It's just hard. Yeah. You know, you got teachers still getting other students pencils and papers when we got this North Carolina lottery that ain't doing nothing for these teachers, which is totally ridiculous. Some of the stuff that need to be done and need to be fixed is blatantly in your face. That's not right. And you got people that's getting fat, getting rich off that, and it's time for that to stop. If you said this North Carolina, this teachers lottery is going to be for the teachers, and you know be able to pay and have good teachers. We should have teachers that's straight out of MIT wanting to teach school. You know what I'm saying? And transition these kids from high school to college because just like times are changing. School academics need to change. Craig hit on it last week about focusing on, you know, just things that's going to kind of take you into the workforce before you leave high school. And we need to make sure that these teachers are getting what they need. Make sure these districts are well taken care of if we got this lottery thing going on. It's no way. I say this a lot. It's no way that I should be able to go to a school and say, or somebody take a picture of the school and then show me a picture of school and they show another picture of a school and say, which one is in a rural community? Or which one is in a community with low income housing?
The one with Starbucks.
It's no way that Yeah, there's no way you should not be able to look at a school if it's a public program and say, man, that's in a bad neighborhood.
Right.
That's when you really know that people who's supposed to be doing what they're supposed to be doing are not doing their job. So, and not only do the teachers are being neglected, the students, our future, is being neglected. We talking about people who are going to be doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. We got to start standing up and saying, hey, man, y'all, what is money at? Why these teachers, why these teachers still talking about raises and pay? And I know that these teachers deal with a lot with these kids in their school, man. They deal with a lot. So I just want to send a shout out to all these teachers, man, and try to, give them some support. And people just, when you see a teacher, man, tell them they're doing a good job. Not just policemen and firemen, just, tell these teachers, man, what do you need? Let's donate some pencils and paper, or you need me to help you with tutoring or anything like that. What do you guys think on that? On that topic?
Well, it's all dependent on you're absolutely right as far as areas of concern. The knowledge that's been given to our kids is kind of mediocre at most. It's not to the level. If you go to, I'm gonna do an example here. Let's do West Mex education versus Independence High, or what's the other school that's up there? It's different structures and different ways things are being taught. And I'm not sure if the teachers are selected for specific schools, so I can't comment on that. But if you have a choice of going to West Mex or Independence, where are you going? It's the knowledge that's coming out of college that's going into the school system. They already know where they want to go. They really don't want to be on the other side per se. But I'm not sure how you would ask. I take that back. There is a way to fix that. But it's going to take time and structure. I don't think these kids are getting what they're supposed to be getting out of this, especially this past year. I definitely don't think that we should just pass them all and not just hold anybody back, because this year's been difficult for the teachers, and because some of them have never did a Zoom or Summit. They can't. Some of them are so vested in the school, they've been there for a while, and they're not computer savvy. I don't want to say that, sound derogatory, but they're not computer savvy. They don't have the background, and they need help, and that's been the main problem.
Some of the teachers are hands-on. In order to teach a kid, they have to be hands-on. They have to be there. So that's a big problem too. But even with the education bracket and level, I think a lot of that what was in college that we didn't see should have trickled down. So all the stuff that we seen coming out of high school, the 12th grade, should now be in the 12th grade.
Right.
Which is they got it in there, but as far as college level, you know what I'm saying? English, it should be on a college level when you at the last part of your education. Like, education shouldn't stay repetitive the same. First grade, second grade, third grade, and so on and so on. The education bracket, like the amount of education every year should trickle down. So what people was learning in the 9th grade, now they are learning it in the 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of stimulate the students too. But I think just like everything, things are changing. We have to change with the times. If not, we gonna slip into this thing where these kids, especially this year, man, I don't know if these kids learned anything. If they did they take it in? Did they get it? These kids probably need to go to school year round. They need to have, at this point, they need to have
the same thing.
Year-round schools. And they'll graduate earlier, but it'll still be longer too. year-round school and longer. Craig?
Look, if I broke down everything that I wanted to say right now, it'll take a whole day.
Hit him with the main one, Craig.
I'm gonna tell you, the main reason is that the public school system is the problem, right? You have all these figures that are controlling the money and are not necessarily handing it down. Even though America likes to tote that we're like high in education level, it doesn't mean anything. Like the difference between our highest and like the lowest of some other country is a dog crap. What really needs to happen is, I say, they get rid of the public schools, right? Give that money that you have to pay back to the parents. Because, I mean, whether you send your kids to public or private school, you're paying for it either way. Because you can't get out of the public. It's in your taxes. It's embedded in your taxes. So give them that money back. Let the parents choose where to send their kids. Public schools, in regards to teachers, I don't know if it's changed since I've been in public school, but I'm pretty sure that where that teacher lives kind of rules where that teacher's going to go teach in school. So they don't get the huge choice that maybe you would think they would if they were doing a private school selection. You know, private schools vet out their teachers like in an in-depth way, like not like a public school where any old Joe can go and teach. Not saying that they're any old Joe. Like I respect teachers that are there, but I've also had some teachers that have been just playing at the pool all day.
Oh yeah, I done had them like that too.
Yeah, hey kids, we don't watch a movie and they just leave.
Yeah,
you know? But say instead of public schools, right, we have a community school. It's like everybody from that community that sends their kids to that school, they fund it, right? They have a committee set up. Parents will choose the teachers. You go through an interview process with teachers. You get in good with teachers. You have an education professional with you, so they can take a closer look at the educational aspect, right? Because you don't want a bunch of people that aren't skilled in something to necessarily create a job for somebody. So you want to have the educational aspect, but you want to have the parent aspect too, because the parents are going to be the main contacts with this person. So if there's no relationship between the parent and the teacher, what you're going to get is a bunch of kids that act unruly, and when they come home, everything's going to seem hunky-dory. So a lot of the violence and a lot of the bullying and stuff like that won't get handled on that microscopic level. So you have kids that have been bullied or called out by students and teachers just sitting back in the wings and potentially going on to do some terrible things. Yeah. So if you narrow that down to just the community, right? It teach you like a family. You know how we talked back a while ago about if you could buy your own like town, right? And you choose your own town to come in there. So raising your kids is a community effort, right? It's a team thing. You don't want to be alone. So that single mother can leave her kid at school and have that peace of mind because she knows the teacher there. She knows she has a working relationship with the teacher and the other kids and the parents.
Yeah, that teacher lives in the community.
Right. A PTA meeting would actually mean something, you know?
Right.
But
do you think we got to get back to more of a face-to-face PTA type of to kind of get control of these kids and uniforms all the way up through 12th grade, or is that what you said?
Right. It needs to be more personal. It's become colder, like cold and corporate. So like parents aren't even allowed on campus, which I guess I understand with like the abductions and stuff like that, but just coming in to check on your kids and stuff like that. Like you talk to the principal will have a working relationship with you, call you by your name, you know? If your kid Derek gets in trouble, guess the parent, the teacher has you on speed dial and call you. You come over there and you sort it out. Right. It's not like that anymore. Now they just send Derek to detention. and Derek gets put on the wayside. They might send a note home, but you know how notes worked when we was in school. You just tuck those things away, and then your parents will never see them. You know, they have to physically call you to the principal's office with your parents.
And
I got one more thing on this topic, and I'm gonna say this, but I wanna say something else first. I don't want everything to be about race, but I think if we don't talk about race, we can't fix it. If you don't address something, it's gonna get worse. So, school districts with a high concentration of Latino and Black students are more likely to be underfunded than the majority white districts that face wider funding gaps. An average, average of 5,000 students per, you know what I'm saying, was, you know, went through this thing where they was looking at these kids that's, how are some schools funded more and some schools are funded less? What makes that, who makes that decision?
Who makes it? Whoever makes the map. You know that whole gentrification thing? where they break up your neighborhood and separate it into ways that benefit people politically. Yeah, that's what does it.
Yeah.
The whole problem is the public school system itself. When you have people controlling the money that don't give a crap about education. You know, you can be a worldwide leader in education, and all your kids need to learn to do is form a complete sentence, and that's it. You know?
Yeah.
But if you keep the money in the hands of people that don't care about education, nothing's going to change. So let the parents keep that money and let them decide what to do with their money. If you're going to keep it within the community. Don't spread it out throughout the state, because I don't necessarily care what some kid in the other part of the state's doing. If I got my kid in private school and I still have to pay for somebody else's kid, it kind of it defeats the whole purpose. That's why people are talking about, you know, how in these bills that they've been giving people money for, you have it in there where parents need child care money. You know, they might not need child care money if you wasn't taking child care money from their pocket that they can't use. You know, it's going to somebody else's kid. But at the same time, like you said, with the lottery stuff, you need to make sure that money gets out there, and you need to not necessarily set a budget based on imaginary numbers, right? So if you go through lotteries and they keep winning, they keep hitting, every single bit of the lottery money that goes to the state for educational purposes need to be held for the next year. And then that next year, that money can be distributed out among places. You don't need to set the budget at the beginning of the year and then spend that money however you want until next year comes around and there's no money. It needs to change fundamentally, and it's not going to change fundamentally until people come together and start to realize that the government, their state government, is shafting them. And then the federal isn't better, because school now is taught to a test that doesn't benefit you after you grow up. School needs to be based on life lessons that'll help you survive when you get out of school.
Right.
So you sitting there taking the SATs ain't going to help you in real life. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
You trying to tell me about Penman's migratory patterns in an essay isn't going to help you. You need something that's actually going to get you somewhere in life.
Kenny, I see you got something. Spit it, Kenny.
You got to trade. I mean, especially males, and I hate to, I'm not excluding females at all. Everybody needs a trade. Everybody needs a skill set. Back when we went to school, there was shop. I mean, and mechanic shop. You learn to work on a car. You learn wood work. I mean, it was something that you can go on this outside of this world and take it to another level. But you learned something other than who landed on Plymouth Rock. Just, I mean, a trade is needed. These kids need further education, and I think it's right. I think we need to extend it to where they go to school year round.
Yep. So topic right there. That's good.
I mean, you can do that, right? But if they don't change anything now, taking them to school year round is just gonna make them dumber. I hate to say it.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right.
Wait, say that again.
Unless
Greg?
you change the current curriculum, making them go to school year round is just gonna make them dumber.
Right.
Make them dumber because they're doing the same thing
and it's
over
all
and over
year,
and over
not
again.
just a couple months.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I said in the beginning that we got to change this curriculum because this is and to keep on doing something over and over again to get different outcomes is the definition of insanity. We have to change this, and I think it's going to come down to, like Craig said, it's going to come down to the community. Like Craig was explaining before about a neighborhood with a school in the middle of it. Everybody in that neighborhood, kids go to that school. The teachers from that neighborhood work in that school. The principal lives in that school, lives in that neighborhood. So everybody, it's a community. Everybody know everybody. So you ain't gonna go there and show your tail or bring no gun to school because he know your dad. She know your mama. You know what I'm saying? These kids can't, and see the detach, like Craig was saying, that face to face, the detach is here. We don't have, these kids are smart. They smart enough to realize, okay, I can go to school, do this. About time they can send a letter home or talk to my parents, I'll be out of here. Yeah. So, and I'm not gonna blame it all. It's not the kids, it's not the teachers, it's not the principal. It's the whole educational system, man. And and if you really want to boil it down and get to the real problem, it's the government. They're not doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. All this money that they have, they are not using it for what they're supposed to be using it for. It's no way in the world that a garbage man should be making more than a teacher. It's no way. It's no way in the world. So
I got one more thing to say on it, right? So if you take that, right, the community is built around the school, right? The community essentially built the school, right? You take a factory, you put the factory next to the school, right? That way your parents that work in the factory are next to the school and they can come there anytime, right? And then you get this tight-knit community where your school leads to a job and then your job leads to the rest of your life. Yep. They can probably bring back pensions. Wow. You just got to make sure your factory specializes in something that people want. But all of this right here would lead to, I believe, lower crime rates because everybody knows everybody. And if somebody that wasn't from your community came in your community and started causing trouble, your whole community might jump on that person and kick them out. So that would mitigate that community. And then I would say if you really want to get rid of law enforcement, it might work as long as you got the community mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, but
lower tax.
But it all goes into changing the way that we look at things and how we view things now, or else nothing's going to change. Right. And the garbage man should 100% be making more than the teacher, because you ain't going to get out there and clean out somebody's dead body in that bag.
Yeah, you're right.
Some of the things I done threw in the trash.
Not to downplay.
Now your local politician, your teacher should be making more money than that person.
Exactly, they should be making more than a politician. One more thing before we go on to the next topic. You know, mental health is a big thing for me right now. Hurt people. Hurt people. So if you don't want to get, what do y'all think about this? This comment that I just said, and what do you think about people who've been hurt who jump in and out of relationships? I know y'all.
They might need to take some me time. Stop jumping into relationships.
Yeah, for real. Instead of jumping back, I was getting ready to say the same thing. You have to have some time for yourself to find yourself first. Because there's certain things you don't like about certain people, and there's certain things people don't like about you. But you need to fix those things before you jump into another relationship. Because you going into a relationship where this person has problems and it's not comfortable if they're judging you because something that's happened in their past. Therefore you got to fix what caused you to be disruptive in your past relationship first. Fix that and you'll be fine. But that'll take a while. That's why everybody needs some me time. Yeah. Everybody needs some me time to be by themselves. 2 or 3 years, fine. 2 or 3 weeks, not fine.
Yeah.
And you have some people out there, get rid of one and go skating and find another. Go to Harris Teeter, put on something tight and pick up a phone number. Something like that. But
hey man, don't be giving out.
If you ain't got an iron will, the only person needs to be in a relationship is a narcissist. Because if you love yourself, can't nobody hurt you.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right. It's so true. So true, man. Powerful statement.
But sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Take a chance.
People need people to love them. Unless they murdering people, then they need to go to jail.
Unless they murdering people.
Hey, fix the stove before you make the pie.
And love them for them.
Yep. What's up, Kenny? You've been kind of quiet today. What's going on, man?
I wanted to get a little bit into health. Everything's coming back open now. Mm-hmm. COVID's they said we're almost there. Every adult in the state has both of their shots so far. Well, not every adult. We're still, I think, up to 70. Is it still 60? 55 or 60%.
Yeah.
Which is a good, but then they're talking about the kids getting their shots.
Super
I don't know. How do y'all feel about the kids getting their shots or having to have a shot to go back to school?
I'll defer everything to my pediatrician. Just like every time I show up and he's like, "Oh, you kids are due for the flu shot," and you go up there and they're like, "All right," and your doctor looks at you and says, "I don't think the flu shot has been very effective this year, so we ain't gonna take it this year." I defer to the doctor when it comes to my kids.
Yep. You ain't kidding.
I feel like they would at least know better than I would. All I can do is patch up some bumps and scrapes, but when it comes to the other stuff, I'll let my doctor tell me, and he's pretty honest. He'll let me know. If he don't think it works, we ain't taking it.
What do you think about these companies and having their employees get both shots before they come back to work, or making them have the shots? What do you guys think about that?
That's their right, I guess. But you might miss out on a lot of workers. You're going to be just like the other companies out there with their signs that say, "Please come work for me."
Yeah.
You know what I don't think needs to happen is I don't think people need to start talking about making it mandatory. Because then you're going to boost up that detraction that's going to happen, because people don't want you to tell them that they need to do something, especially when they don't necessarily have to do it. Especially when the news that have been coming out about the stuff is mixed, and nobody can come to a clear conclusion. And there's been some events in the news that I've been watching that could possibly lead to an even bigger opposition to it. So the last thing you need to do is say it's mandatory. And I honestly think that America should probably stop giving shots away to other countries. Just because of the way it looks. You're telling all these people they need to get their shots, but at the same time, you're just giving away our stock. So those people that can potentially get it won't be able to get it eventually when time comes,
You can see.
But yeah,
wow. I see what you're saying.
Don't poke the bear. Just let the bear be.
Yeah. Let the bear be. Don't poke the bear.
60% is pretty good. It's better than fucking 0.
Yeah. You think?
And as you get there, you're talking about the super spreader stuff, right? If the shot worked like how it's supposed to work, eventually, like this mass group of people, it should be fine. And the people that have gotten it and have shown no signs should be fine. And the people that have gotten it and showed signs now have antibodies, so they should be fine. And if it turns out that they're not fine, then they're just going to not be fine. And then that's where you can catch the stragglers on the next shot. Because if it transforms and turns into something different and you have to get more shots, what was the purpose of the first shot? Because we've all already been through the first one.
Yeah, we already been through the first one. I don't know, man. It's a mess.
It wouldn't be a mess if they had so many people just telling people that they were dumb for not getting a shot that has no reliable testing. You know, sure, I would be hesitant too. You know? Yep. So let the people be hesitant and they'll just get the shot when they get the shot. You know, to walk into your local Walmart where you don't need an appointment, you know, somebody standing out there, hey, would you like a COVID shot? And that person might be like, oh, I didn't know you guys were giving out COVID shots. Sure. But if you egg that person on when he's on there, would you like a COVID shot? You might pull down his pants, grasp a pool, and sling it, you know?
Right.
So just let the wary be wary, and it should fix itself over time. The people that get the shot should be fixed. They shouldn't have to worry about it anymore. And if they still have to worry about it, then your shot wasn't that effective in the first place.
Touche.
Sound like you don't want to get the shot.
Let people be what people be. I'm just trying to tell you, you know. Especially when I saw somebody walk into a Target the other day and they were like, this was like right when they announced that we didn't have to wear masks. Walked into a Target. The lady was like, excuse me, ma'am, do you got a mask? She was like, I don't need no mask. And I was walking in behind her. I was like, whoa. And then she was like, a mask is required in our store, ma'am. And she was like, well, I'll go in here and shop for what the hell I need and I'll walk out of here. I don't need no mask. Cause the whole scene. And I was just in there trying to get some juice.
It really ain't that serious, man.
It's not that serious.
I don't know why people get like that. It's not that serious. If she had
just let that lady walk in and do whatever she was going to do, it wouldn't have been a problem. That's all I'm saying. If you want the shot and you ain't got the shot, go get the shot. But if you don't want to take the shot or you're wary of taking the shot, mind your own business.
There you go.
Now, I know what Craig is saying, and some people going to feel like, well, we trying to protect everybody, this and that. I think the point here is you can't force anybody to do something with their own body. You can't make nobody take no shot. And if we allow anybody to start, you got to take the shot to come to work. Then you open the door for this crazy, you got to have on red shoes to come to work. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got to have a red car to work here. You know, you open the door for this craziness, man. You know, it's already, you can't have a felony working someplace. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So now they're going to be like, if you ain't got this shot, you can't work here. You can't fly on a plane. You can't, I mean, it can go either way. That's why you got to really be careful and really think about rules and regulations when you start to say, well, I got the shot because I'm trying to make everybody safe. Okay, you get the shot, that's for you. But it may not be for everybody. So you got to consider everybody's position on this. I feel like my position is I want to protect my parents. My parents older. I want to protect my grandbaby. You know what I'm saying? So that's my position. But I got a friend that's like, man, I ain't getting a shot. I don't trust it. It's a sticky. The all, you know, they giving people all this stuff way back in the days. You know, some people are like, nah, man, I ain't trusting them. And whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that America don't trust, people in America don't trust the government? Whose fault is it? It ain't the people.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to really take a stand and be honest with yourself and say, if somebody forced me to take a shot, what would you do? Nah, man, I ain't taking no shot. You can't force me to, you know, it's going to be a gun battle. I mean, not a gun battle. It's going to be a problem.
I mean, you can tell them to. But you know what that is? It's communism. You need to get that out of here. This is America.
Yep.
Yep.
So you just have to be careful. Gun control.
Gun control.
You are your own property.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. You guys know there's been like a lot of shootings in I'm glad they found the guy that shot that kid in the car. I think it was in LA. I'm glad they found found him. What do we do to actually pinpoint the issue, fix it without harming people that are eligible for gun to buy a gun? How do we fix this?
I mean, it's then again. I mean, we on a different topic, but the same issue. How do you say you can't have a gun when that's my Second Amendment right, or First Amendment, whatever it is? It's my right to own a firearm and do what I'm an avid, you know what I'm saying, gun owner, hunter. You know what I'm saying, fishing. Yeah. How you gonna tell me I can't have a gun because crazy Ned went down there? You know, guns don't kill people. People kill people. It ain't the gun's problem. It ain't the gun. The gun ain't get up and say, I feel I've been alone. I'm just gonna start shooting by myself. It ain't that. It's mental health, man. And people not taking and teaching their kids. You got kids going to school. I don't care. Listen, I was bullied in school. Okay, so back in our days, man, it was like
food line.
My mama told me one day I was in the middle of the street fighting a person. She was like, either you gonna go out there and fight them or I'm gonna fight you. One of the two. You gotta toughen up. So I mean, I understand the bullying thing, but I think we really got to be careful when we open the doors for people to be lazy. When you start opening the doors for people to have you open the door for something that's gonna cause more harm than help. Because, and I'm not saying what I went through was okay, you know what I'm saying, but I'm saying we got people got to take care of their kids, raise your kids right. You know what I'm saying? Teach your kids life is very important. Not only yours, but everybody else's. You got kids going to school shooting 20 people, killing 20 people at one time. You know what I'm saying? And it makes no sense. But gun control, I don't think, I know what's finna happen. I know they're going to try to be like, well, you know, we finna take all that, you know, what they call assault rifle, which is really just a rifle. That name should have never been attached to that gun or attached to any kind of rifle. But gun control makes no sense to me. Because if you have gun control, what people gonna start doing? Hatching and chopping people up, stabbing people. They're gonna do something? Yeah. You knife control? Come on, man. Stop it. Let's stop that. That's nonsense, man. Craig, I see you.
Look, I don't know. I'm not gonna tell you that it's an easy problem to fix. I mean, you can put a bunch of sanctions on the kind of guns that people can get, but really, when it comes to the bad guys gonna get what the bad guys got. You ain't gonna stop no bad guy from having a gun, especially if it's a quote-unquote assault rifle or a machine gun. You know, old boy that was in the hotel last year with the high-powered machine gun, you know, in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bad people are going to have bad things. And what you're going to do with a lot of the gun control measures they talk about is give the innocent people or a man that wants to defend his family, his property and stuff, and take away his ability to do that. So the reason I don't agree with it for the Second Amendment rights is because you're supposed to be able to defend yourself against the government that's going to come and try and take everything from you. Right? So when communism starts to rear its head, you should be able to come and defend yourself against those people that are trying to take things away from you. And you can't say that the government isn't doing that. They've been doing that for a while now. So it starts with small things. They take away from you bit by bit by bit, and people think it's okay. And then at the end of the day, it becomes a big problem. And I think right now they're trying to use the occupation of the Capitol building this last year to kind of put a big old monkey wrench into the gun control system, right? To say, oh, these people were here occupying the Capitol, even though there wasn't any kind of violence that came out about them having guns, or at least the masses of people having guns. They were just in there standing around taking pictures inside of some velvet ropes and kicking their feet up on people's desks. And the main people that had guns were the officers that were in there killing those people that were just standing in the Capitol building. But that's just one side of it. The other side of it, right, is that you have a bunch of people that are supposed to protect and defend you going wild with their firearms and their weapons. So it's understandable that a citizen, a normal American citizen, will be wary of giving up their firearms when the people that are supposed to protect and defend them are shooting them just for being in their cars.
First thing Hitler did,
you know,
ban all weapons.
You know, so I mean, it's a slippery slope, and it's a slope that I think will need to be navigated very, very carefully, because if you let them take these rights from you, you'll never get them back.
Never
Right.
get it back.
And that's just based off
Never.
history. So everybody can have their own determination of what the Constitution means, or it's old, it's out of place, we should take this away. No, you shouldn't. It's not there in the way that you interpreted it for. It's there to protect the people.
Right.
And if the people let you take it away, those people are no longer protected. And I don't know why people have such an issue with that, especially if you're on the left side of the aisle, right? Because most Americans are like in the middle of everything. So like right now, it's that big argument of you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. Most people are like in the middle because they're basically the same party. And
Right.
what you need to do is take politics out of it, because nobody that does politics is on your side. They don't care about you. They care about maintaining their control, and they care about making money. And that's all they care about.
And nothing changes.
Nobody in politics cares about you. Right.
Every year it's the same thing. Nothing changes.
Yeah.
Even all these rules, they sit up there, and Congress sit up there and vote on rules. Some of them sit at the House. Nothing changes for the people. It's all for big companies. Nothing changes. They're not saying, well, every American ain't got to pay taxes this year because we good. They ain't nobody worried about us. You know, they don't care whether you sleep dead or homeless or whatever. You know what I'm saying? As long as they pockets fat, they get the best medical care. That's all they care about. They sit up there and make these rules, and it don't trickle down to who it's supposed to be for.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand it. I honestly, I don't understand.
One more thing, and I'm gonna give it back to you, Kenny, because we kind of taking up all your time. But don't just let somebody come in your house and take the food off your table. All right, just think of it like that. These are things that were given to you when you were born, right? So if you just come in, let somebody in your nice little house you just paid for, take the food on the plate that you just paid for, and just put it in your pockets and leave, that's a problem. And you know what? They're not even leaving your house. They take your food, put it in their pocket, and they're going back for some more.
Going back for some more. Just
stand
there.
Stand up for
you
yourself.
got some salt?
If they don't want firearms, all right. Again, as a community, come together, start hosting some pistol classes, some self-defense classes. Get somebody in there to teach y'all. It's a real bad thing. We're going to stop going this global route and go community-wise.
Yeah.
Help yourselves, because ain't nobody else going to help you.
There it is.
Well, how do we govern the firearm being in the arms of a convicted felon? How do we fix that?
I mean, does
too many of them have guns?
I mean, does it matter though? I mean, just because they're a convicted felon, you can be convicted of walking down the street being black. I've seen it.
No, not in that aspect.
The murderous ones should be in jail.
It's coming out to be right. It's turning out to be that most of these people that are doing these killings shouldn't have firearms in the first place. They stole them. They stole them out of parked cars at a restaurant. They stole them out of houses, and they're riding around with the guns in the cars. I mean, it's getting bad.
They gotta beef
at that point. Like somebody's not doing their job.
Yeah,
somebody stole your gun.
Yeah,
You ain't
let me
reporting
say
it.
something.
That's what I was trying to get.
There
to.
you go, letting them in your house, eating your food again.
Check this out. If you get caught with a stolen gun, that's 40 years hard time. You got ain't no court. 40 years, and you gonna work. They need to. Honestly, I'm telling you something. And I know it's gonna be a humane issue. They need to bring the chain gang back.
Oh,
they need to have these guys going to prison, watching TV on cell phones, getting bigger, getting stronger, and come out here and commit crimes. I don't think that's not logical for me. Put them on the chain gang. Make them clean up some of these streets. Lower our taxes. Make them fix up some of these older people's houses. Make you know what I'm saying? Make them paint. Make them go downtown, clean downtown. Make them do something. Not sit around with 3 hots in the cot. You know what I'm saying? And if you get caught with a gun, you get caught with a stolen gun, that's 40 years. If you get caught with a stolen gun that's got a body on it, that's 100 years. And I guarantee, after the first 2 or 3, man, I don't want nothing to do with that gun stuff. You got a gun in the car. I don't want to. I guarantee it'll happen. You gotta start putting your foot down, man. Because these youngins, man, these youngins out here killing people right and left, bro. Right and left, and they'll shoot in your car. Look at Chicago, man. They got in LA. They got a problem with somebody shooting on the highway.
I would argue that probably hasn't changed from back in the day. You just got more news and more content out there.
Right.
But I think this highway thing is kind of different. I think this highway thing where somebody's doing a drive-by on the highway, they're shooting at these cars and killing these people. It's been like 10 or 15 of them. And that's kind of different.
I don't know, man. I lived in California for a while. You see some pretty crazy stuff out there.
Yeah, I heard.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. Sorry, Q, we done took over your thing, man.
No, you're fine.
Hey, stop letting these people come in your kitchen eating your food.
Put my french fries down.
Somebody steal your gun you paid $400, $500 for. You just gonna let them walk off with that? You better tell somebody. And then them cops better get out there and do their job.
Well,
exactly.
They better.
Paying them money.
Yeah. Last issue I was talking about last time we were on our meditation and focusing on oneself. I found that gardening for me, like planting stuff outside, that's another relaxing thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I kind of figured out a couple things with the garden here. There are animals that love specific types of food. So if you want to get rid of animals messing in your garden, if you cut your hair at your house or have anybody cut hair, put it in the grass around the garden. If you have any type of let's say coffee grinds for your soil, put it in your soil. It's all a deterrent.
Wow, but I didn't know that, man.
Yeah,
I got an old whip white, man.
I actually went out and bought a scarecrow. It's an owl. I bought an owl. It sits on not like mom's. It sits on a pole. Mine's sitting on the table. But yeah, the garden is like free up your mind.
That's all right, man. I taking pictures of flowers is big for me, man. You know what I'm saying? I love taking pictures of flowers. But I got that old wet white. I let you use it.
That's what I need.
You throw it right there in your garden because it's biodegradable.
Yeah, for real. And last but not least,
what do you tell those people that want to release some stress, but they're criminals and they like to rob banks? Tell them you can't rob banks. I'm just trying to relax. Cops catching him, he's sitting there rubbing his earlobe. Woo,
Meditate and relax and relate. Netflix. I want everybody to check this out. It's really focused on our culture. It's called. Let me make sure I got this right. It's called High on the Hog, and it's on Netflix. If you get a chance to watch it, it's very, very, very educational about North and South, basically how we survived as a race growing up, and what we had to do to survive. Like, they never talked about what we did. This guy actually went to one of the places that were responsible for shipping slaves to the U.S. And he actually walked down the path in Africa that they would walk down to go on ships. And it just overtook his body to where he just stopped. And then he just kept on walking. And these are paths that people actually walked down. Just walked down just to get on a ship, didn't know where they were going. Some of them did, and some of them didn't, but it's the same. There's a couple of them like that. In Benin, that's where the majority of the slave trade started. Once they got here, they had to, as far as like food and communication, they all had different languages. So they had to come up with a different type of communication. Food was scarce. They had to come up with making things out of scraps. If you had made food for the house, you get the scraps, and you have to decide what you're going to do with those scraps. And it all boils down to what we did to survive and how it's changing the culture of these restaurants, people's mindset. It's really, really interesting. I think everybody should check it out.
You know what? I'm going to tell you, I saw that on Netflix.
You did?
But when I looked at it, I thought it was a barbecue cooking show.
No.
I thought it was going to be about
Craig,
cooking pig.
I'll be honest with you. I did too. And I'm glad I looked at it. But I thought it was going to be another cooking show too. Because I'm into the British Bake Off now.
I thought I was going to click on that and see one more guy named Diesel. Trying to tell us how to cook some pig.
But check that out. It's really, really interesting. All these recipes that we never knew, they came from us. We made those recipes, but they're out there in the world.
Wow.
You'd be surprised.
Now, does it tell you how to make some decent Caribbean food?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know what they say about Caribbean food? You got to be black enough to eat Caribbean.
You got to be black enough.
Yeah, you got to be black.
But yeah, if you get a chance, just check it out. That's all I got, fellas.
All right. Well, thanks. Now I know I ain't going to get to watch any cooking competition. All right. But for the last thing of today, kind of wanted to jump into something that I think has related to a bunch of the stuff we've been talking about for the past few weeks. And that's the U.S. birth rate scare right there. What they do is every year they'll go through and they'll calculate the average number of births that happened that year by looking at the birth certificates that were put out there, and it just so happens that last year they say that the birth rate fell by 4%, which they say is the largest single year decrease in nearly 50 years, which, I mean, just looking at it, I wouldn't think it's that much, but when you think about millions and millions of babies being born, 4% is a lot of babies. But as they break it down, right, they're talking about that it's actually down in a bunch of categories from where it was. And in some of the categories, I would think is a good thing. The birth rate for people that are age 15 and 19 years old, they say dropped by 8% since 2019. And it continues to fall from 1991, which I think is the is a great thing. You shouldn't have kids running out here with kids. Young kids with kids is a bad thing. And I think the drop and downfall is in the contraceptives and the sexual education they've been giving out since it was a kid. Even though I think they continue to go lower and lower every year, and it might be not something for a 6-year-old to digest in his brain piece. But it's good that it's fallen by 8%. And just as like the racial breakdowns, it has fallen by a lot too. But in the overall grand scheme of thing, it comes out to about 4%. 4% of babies not being born. And I just wanted to kind of try and look at some of the reasons why that's happening, because I mean, they're saying it's a bad thing, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it might be a blessing in disguise. Right, with all the talks of like overpopulation, and we need to try and find some way for humans to consume food. It might be a good thing to like drop, but what that means is there's a pretty big problem that's going to happen, and I think that millennials, my generation and below, are going to have to eat that bullet, and it comes in the form of the whole retirement talk, because they say that a certain amount of money is supposed to be held for Social Security, and if enough people aren't being born, those numbers aren't going to make up for that Social Security that you lost. So like essentially you'd want a 1-for-1 coverage, so the amount of people that die should be replaced by the amount of people that are birthed, and so on and so forth, and every generation will cover the next generation. But we passed that. Every generation has only gotten bigger, right, and has only just started to decline over the past couple of decades, so as it grew bigger, the amount of people that were there couldn't pay for the people that were already there. So now there's this big bottleneck that we need to close in on. And I think that people in the millennial generation just need to get it in their heads that we're not going to have Social Security. And I think the government needs to come out and say that Social Security is canceled for people that were born in 1988 and on. Like, because we're paying money for it, and we're never going to see that money come back. No matter how much they want to say that we are, it's just not going to happen. And
so they need to wind up stop Social Security coming out of people's checks,
right?
Like 85 and up.
They're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to do it because you ain't got enough money. The money has to come somewhere. So I mean, they just need to come out and tell everybody that it's gone. Right? It's not there anymore. So that it's gone. Yeah. So the thing is, right, we have these decreasing birth rates. It's going to affect your Social Security and your retirement going forward. And I also think that on the opposite side, the government needs to realize that okay, this thing is so far as the kids being made is not a big part of the American dream anymore, because I mean, growing up, if you talk to people and how it was conveyed to me, the American dream is to have a job, get a house, have kids, and then pass on, right? But now in the world that we live in, where inflation and everything is taking up a lot of that headroom that we had, you'd be lucky enough to get a house. You'll be lucky enough to get a job that pays you well enough to where you can retire. And if you have kids in between that, your American dream is essentially dead on arrival. I hate to say it because I have kids, but it's basically dead on arrival.
No, you're right.
Unless you're actually out there putting in a lot of work. So, I mean, I don't want people in my generation to think that they have to have kids because the government or somebody else thinks they need to have kids, because I worry that they're not going to have enough money to retire. So the main thing on our minds now is living our lives. You know, people say they have midlife crisis. I've been having a midlife crisis for the past 5 years, man. I don't know where I'm going. Right. So I don't believe that we should have to work for the rest of our lives, but that's what it's turned into. And, you know, as a parent, I think that I want my kids to have a better life than I had, right? And then my parents wanted me to have a better life than they had, you know, and you keep going on, that identity is eventually going to take over to where people want to live their lives and not be stuck in some corporate job all the time, you know? And I think that the trends of today with the inflation and everything, that should be held as some sort of beacon to society, right? We need to change the basics of how we're getting paid to work and all this stuff. It's not going to work anymore. You need to kind of sow your own seeds, get your own thing started in order for you to live comfortably. And I appreciate being born, and I appreciate my parents wanting me to have a better life than they had and all that stuff. But people need to stop lying to me, telling me I only need to save 80% of my work income for a year so I can live later on in my life. It needs to be more like 100, 120%, because that extra ain't gonna be there.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I mean, what kind of trends do you guys notice, you know, or are any of the sticking points like the American dream different from when you were a kid, or how do you guys view it?
Yeah, I've seen especially people in government, like the pensions, they basically run out. All the older people that were in the business, they're gone with their pensions, and there's basically the 401k to depend on, and that's really not substantial enough amount to survive for a long time without work. I mean, that could be some go on a cruise money for a couple of times, but that's pretty much it. You got to find some type of investment, something to put your money into that'll actually grow, because everybody's been doing it. Some people just don't know how, but I think that's the perfect scheme. If you're planning on retirement, sit down with somebody and talk to them about it. See where your money should go, how it should be divided up, stuff like that. Just prepare yourself for when you're getting ready to sit down, because it's hard. It's hard. I've known 3 retirees that are doing okay because they planned out their retirement, and the company basically gave them what they deserved when they were getting ready to walk out the door with no questions asked. And they've taken that money and turned it around.
Do you hear like younger people talk about having kids? Like what are the kind of things that you hear? Do you hear concerns?
I hear that too, especially with the newer generation that's coming on board. It's a hit and miss. They see some things that are going out and they don't want kids. Then you got the ones that are up ranked, that are planning their future. Every day they come to work. This is what's going to happen this year. This is what will happen tomorrow. I mean, you got people like that are destined on putting everything in steps because somebody showed them or told them this is what you need to do to stay on top and your family. But as far as like children and stuff like that, I rarely hear adults now talking about having kids. Young adults, it's not a topic. They're just getting married. Either side is not talking about having children yet, which I find kind of weird.
I've heard less and less of people talk about getting married too. Yeah,
really,
it's all a game.
Yeah.
I think that goes back to the relationship thing too. It's getting hard to trust people, and people are not being honest with what they want. And you got a lot of people out here playing games. You got grown folks, 50, 49, and still out here playing games, still out here telling lies. And, you know, you got women out here that's got men that fix their car and come fix stuff in their house and take them shopping. She got a man to take on vacation. Then you got dudes out here. He all over the place, man. He got 4 different girlfriends and got a wife.
Yep.
You got all that going on, and people like, why would I get married to somebody that I can't trust? I keep on telling people, love is okay, but loyalty can take you a long way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just, at this level, with the kid situation and people not really having kids, people really don't want to have kids now at this point, man, with people. They wind up getting with somebody that really don't understand being in a relationship. Like you need to be somebody's friend before you start sleeping with them. If you take that sex pill out of it and just be somebody's friend and get to know them. Yeah. For about 6-7 months, which is hard. Cause your feelings get involved. You know what I'm saying? You start, you want, hey, I understand, but people gotta take their time now, cause people slick nowadays. We got the internet, these phones, people real slick. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to trust people these days, man. So
that's the truth.
I just say, you know what I'm saying? That relationship game thing is crazy, man. You got women who wanna, they'll tell you, well, I just wanna have, can I date somebody else while I'm dating you? You can't date nobody else while you dating me. What's wrong with you? Bump your head.
I don't want that disease.
You got girls now still on that cousin thing. Oh, this is my cousin. Stop it. Okay, let's stop that. I'm talking about 50, 49-year-old women. Oh, this is my cousin. Wow. And then you come to find out the dude ain't her cousin. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of slick stuff going on, and with this relationship game, man, that it's hard out here. It's hard out here.
There's that, and then I also think there's the whole aspect of living up to your fullest potential, right? So like things a while ago ain't the same as they were before. You got people that actually want to go out and pursue their careers and stuff like that. Especially when the dream of being like a homemaker isn't as prevalent as it used to be. You got people that want to get out and actually do something, accomplish something with their lives, and especially when it comes to like relationships. I've heard a lot of the what's your credit score type of thing. Doing the whole credit evaluation before you get together. And I mean the whole do you want to have kids and how many kids do you want to have thing kind of gets put on the last of the list. It's not the number one thing you want to know anymore,
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, it's
right.
It's a financial endeavor, so you need to have all of your ducks in a row before you jump into the plan. And I think people know that now, living with their parents and how their parents struggled. They seen it firsthand, lived it firsthand. So if they don't want to have kids right now, they probably know why they don't want to have kids right now. So I don't see it improving in the future. I think it's going to continue to fall. Even when it didn't raise and we was all stuck in the house during the pandemic, still didn't go nowhere. So
yeah.
Well, you know why that was? Because people start realizing, hey, this time I'm spending with you, I didn't know you was like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And people finally realize, man, I can't spend another minute with you. I can't stand to hear you walk. You know what I'm saying? So some people don't want their kids no more. They're like, nah, you need to go to school.
Like, who you
can't wait for that school to open. You got to go. You got to go. You got to get out of here. The kids got to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got to really get to know people these days, man. People got game, man. Everybody got a game. That's one thing I can't stand about the relationship thing too. Everybody got game. You know what I'm saying? And then instead of being honest and allowing me to make the decision, they'll lie about it. Just tell me, if that's your cousin and y'all used to mess around, tell me. You know what I'm saying? So I can make my decision. Don't sit there and lie to me.
Maybe I'll say,
okay, that's cool. I just come back here on Tuesday. Yeah.
See you back.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll be the Tuesday guy. He the Wednesday guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let me know, which I wouldn't do. But I'm just saying, allow me to make that decision. You know what I'm saying? Instead of lying, and it's not like, well, I ain't 20 or 21, but it's not like these young girls. It's like the older women got game, and they lazy. They want somebody to hit. Well, let me not say this, but they lazy. They want somebody to help them. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to get it on their own. They want somebody to help them. Then when they do have it on their own, now they got a chip on their shoulder. I don't need no man. Okay, all right. Let's see how that work out.
Hey, they live in.
Man, I might get my car in for that one.
Go out there and live your best life. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, live your best life. You think
but
that?
The 4%,
you know
it ain't gonna change.
Ain't nothing like it. No. It ain't nothing like real love, man. It ain't nothing like it. Nothing like it. You meet that person that's compatible with you and that will ride or die. When back in the day when we was coming up, fellas, and you met a girl and you was like ride or die with that chick, and you knew that chick had your back.
Yeah, shoot, man.
I know some chicks back in the days, I would go get them before I go get a dude.
When she busts in on you while you taking a bath, throw some hot grits on you, and you still married?
Ooh.
Yeah, right?
And you still married. Those are love grits.
She in there brushing her teeth and you sitting on the commode. And everything love boat. You know what I'm saying?
That's love.
That's love, man. That's love.
Yeah.
It's been a good one, y'all.
That's it for me. That's all I got. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on another episode of NorthKaKChat.
Woo!
I've been your host, Craig Tone, and these have been my co-hosts, Curtis McKoy and Kenny McKoy. So, in review tonight, we talked about the dwindling birth rates, how it's going to affect our retirements, and how we should be going out there and getting that bag. No time to relax.
No time.
And when we get done, we can come home and then chill out in our gardens while we grow our ghost peppers and all cough like Idris Elba when he was on the Hot Ones episode.
That was a good episode, too. He lost it.
And then, man, trying to figure out the solution to make sure our kids get taken care of and these teachers out here get what they deserve, you know. And, you know, it hurt people. We need to change that. Make it all about love.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right,
If you enjoyed the episode, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And for our episode next week, what are we talking about, Curtis?
It's going to be a hard one for everybody. But just complaining about something ain't going to change it.
I mean, just a little bit. Might change a little bit. You just walk past that person you see every day, and you're like, "Man, I'm tired of your stinking ass clothes." You know that might change stuff.
It may. Hey, listen, that may start a ripple effect.
Wait until y'all in a group. Like, man, y'all been smelling that. It smelled like raw butt this whole time, and every time I get closer to this direction, you lean in towards them and you sniff them. It starts to smell worse.
Straight onions from Hardee's.
Raw butt.
Das.
I gotta remember that.
Das.
What is it? It's das.
So again, thank you for hanging out. Join us next week when we sit down and analyze some of the other stuff that we have been going through in our minds. Potentially how not to be stanky. Yeah, that's right. As we hold the next episode of NorthKaKChat. Good night.
I gotta go take a shower.
That's your bye.